Jason has left the PTB, so we're going to be reviewing a no perk, no add-on game where not a single survivor escaped. I'm going to be voicing it over, going through what I was thinking every single step of the way. So, here it is. Alright, Garden of Joy, a little less than ideal. Can make this work. Just gonna try to make sure we don't end up taking any chases through main. Try to see if we can secure a 3-gen, maybe even 4-gen out here, and see what we can do. Looks like we do have a bit of a 3-gen out on this side. We got at least one survivor over here. And we'll see what we can do. This is my first game on, so got a bit of a warm-up when it comes to throwing the spikes. One thing I do want to mention is that pallets are valued, and any pallet we can get rid of this early on that's going to be around our final 4-gen or 3-gen that we're trying to defend is more value. So we've got a few around here I'm going to keep my eye on, but if we can either push people away from these generators right out of the gate, maybe get a couple of hooks in the meantime. Fantastic. Also, at this point, Jason's still pretty new to me, so figuring out what his spike will fit through is a bit of an experiment right now. Starting chases with each of the survivors, figuring out how they decide to either dodge or handle a spike being prepared to throw at them it's important to know. It's similar to Nurse figuring out how survivors are going to dodge, or Huntress figuring out how they're going to dodge hatchets. Do they run with a plan? Do they panic the second a hatchet or a spike is ready to be thrown at them? Do they early drop? Do they run through every pallet? Those are all things that you kind of want to attach to each survivor as you chase. And being able to get all of that information early, because they are on one of our gens we're trying to defend, is valuable. So even though we're not walking away from this one with 3 or 4 hooks before that first gen pops, we are still getting a lot of information, and we're getting a couple of strong pallets out of here as well. She seemed a little panicked there, so I'm hoping and she'd be paying a little bit less attention to that spike as we threw it. They're pushing this gen quite a bit. So I'm still able to deal a lot of damage while I'm waiting out in this area, and I'm able to stay away from main and defend that 3-gen. So I will absolutely be taking every chase that stays in this area that I can. Trying to make sure that we're using our time as efficiently as we can without those gen slowdown perks and without any add-ons that's going to be helping our ability out. A gen being 99, I was hoping we could catch the last one, but with 2 survivors down and 1 injured. At this point, I wanted to see if we could get a quick down here to see if we could just snowball the entire match. You know, that one panics a lot. Not surprised she ran into the wall there. Okay, 3 survivors down. We don't know where the last one is, and I haven't been mentally tracking where all of my slugs are. So unless I can find that last survivor quickly, there she is. This time I've noticed that we no longer have 3 survivors on the ground. So in order to make sure we get at least some value out of this, we can go ahead, hook who we can, and then control our sectioned off area as best we can. really seeing too much going on around here. We do have scratch marks. We know at least 2 survivors are on this side, so at most there can be 2 survivors working on a gen. However, they're likely off somewhere else healing. So we can go ahead and take this chase that's a little bit farther out than I would normally want. We're applying pressure here. Without those gen slowdown perks, the best way that I can apply pressure is making sure players are either injured or, unfortunately, it is either on the ground or on hook, because that's taking likely at least 2 survivors out of the game. One that is actually on the ground or on hook, and then at least 1 other that is going for that save. If they're not in a Survive with Friends group, you could very well be taking everyone off of gens if you've got multiple people who are looking to get those juicy unhook points. Again, sort of returning to what I said earlier, getting rid of all of the pallets on one side of the map when we can. Jason's ability allowing him to move throughout the map efficiently while also getting rid of these high value pallets is fantastic. So taking advantage of that anytime we can has been valuable. My experience with Huntress, generally survivors who do kind of panic, run into walls and all that, they will eventually end up panicking at pallets as well. Even if they were running through pallets earlier, if they find that they're getting caught, if they find you are swinging through pallets, they'll start dropping early, even if you pull a little bit early for the spike, the hatchet, the nurse teleport, what have you, right? At this point, we have 1 survivor on death hook. Everyone else is injured and has at least 1 hook point attached to them. So they're getting a little more nervous, a little more afraid than they were initially. They're no longer going to be trying to rip gens off right in front of me. I don't have anything smart to say there. I just straight up fell for the dead hard, and I'm not proud of it, but that got to me. I was shaking my head a little bit there. Something else that I brought over to my Jason gameplay from Huntress is zoning. Zoning and pressure. The amount of pressure you can hold by just simply picking up that spike and threatening to throw it. A lot of survivors will stop holding just W and making that space. They'll try to dodge, they'll try to put whatever objective they can between you and something else. So swapping over to that M1, lowering that spike, even though I got hit by the dead hard, I have found throughout the PTB that does help me out quite a bit. With us being down to just 2 generators remaining, and one of these 2 generators being next to a window, I decided to go to main. I don't want to take a full chase through main, but if we can apply some pressure, get a cheeky down like we did, then it'll be worth. And since at least a couple survivors probably know this gen is close to being done, our other gens are okay, and we've got scratch marks going up to it, we can afford some time to revisit this one. So what's going through my head right now is we have 2 gens remaining. The 1 gen up top top is very close to being done. One of the generators we really want to defend until endgame already being done. We have 2 survivors left, and they're both here. So nobody's going to be on the gen behind me. If we can get one of those survivors down and force endgame, that's going to be good for us. We're going to go ahead and block windows a part of this chase. They still have that pallet up, so pushing them away from this loop is what I am hoping is going to save me some time here. But because they still have the main loop up, we're going to go ahead and return to that gen that was 99. And it's a good thing we did. So this is the same survivor that at the very start of the match, that little spin before each and every time we threw. I should have known better, but we did keep in mind that she had that happy little DS at the end there. So with that, we have 1 gen remaining that just got completed. So we know about where she's going to be. If we can catch her here, then that'll be an easy GG's. But at this point, since we don't see those scratch marks, we don't know immediately where she is. Thinking back to a little bit earlier in the match when we loaded in, we did see that they had some secret offerings, and for those secret offerings, a lot of times they're going to be dropping a offering that will give them hook at shack. So we're going to go ahead, drop that hook at shack, and we've forced endgame. Now with Omnipresent Evil, we are free to float between both of these exit gates. And since these exit gates are a part of the map, the lights will be shown to us when a survivor starts working on them. So I don't need to break out of Omnipresent Evil until we see those lights started. The survivors also know this. So what I've found happens more here than with any other killer on the PTB is they will wait. They will just wait it out. They'll be salty about the loss, and we won't see them actually push towards that exit gate. Even still, there are some that hold out for that last 5%, 15%, somewhere in that range, or they will go for pulling that exit gate as late as they possibly can, hoping that you've given up, right? Hoping that 3 kills is just good enough for you. But no perks, no add-ons. They single survivor escapes, that's not the achievement we're going for here. And we know exactly where she is. With less than half of the endgame collapse remaining, we've done what we need to. At this point, there is no way she will have time to open up either exit gate. So this chase at this point is more or less just for fun for the both of us, right? Of course, I do want to end this chase. I do want to get this win. But with this much time left, it's tough, right? This isn't the most serious chase because I know at this point, we've already won. We have locked in. We've secured that 4K. Well, we've secured that no survivors escape. So that's that. That's the first no perk, no add-on game I've had where no survivors escape. GG's! Let me know if you guys like this one. Want to see more.